Happy Tuesday, everyone. Good morning. I'm Brian Manning. I'm a financial advisor for Pinnacle Financial Partners here in Nashville, Tennessee. We are here with another Pinnacle Point webinar today. This has been a series that we started last month, and Samantha Owens-Pyle is a client and our guest speaker for this series, and she's been very kind and generous with her time. And we like to do the Pinnacle Point webinar series to further our brand of effective advice. This firm was built on distinctive service and effective advice, and so we try to do that a lot of different ways. We hope that the conversations that you have with our people stand out and feel a little bit different than other financial institutions. And then we look for ways just like this to try and help you think about how you run and manage your business or how you run and manage your personal finances. And we're thankful for great friends, clients, and speakers like Sam who join us to give their experience and expertise on the subject matter. Sam is the founder, CEO, and chief strategist of Green Apple Strategy, LLC. She supports all of her clients with lots of different wonderful things like strategic planning and campaign management, team building, public speaking, and today she's going to talk specifically about how to help brand your company and your key executives with public relations. And so I'm thankful that Sam's going to spend a little bit of time with us. A couple of quick housekeeping things before I turn the presentation over to Sam. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there are three little dots, and that's how you can interact with the webinar today. You can submit questions through the Q&A, or you can use the chat function. We'll be monitoring that the entire time. We want this to be conversational, so if Sam says something that you've got a question about or you would love for her to expand a little bit more on, please feel free to chime in and ask a question, and then we will do a formal Q&A at the end. You can submit your questions, and I'll be monitoring those and have Sam answer those at the end. We are recording this webinar for you. It'll be available on our YouTube channel likely later today or tomorrow, so that if you found the content super helpful and you want to share it with your team or share it with a friend, it'll be available to you to go back and rewatch and take more notes. So I think that covers all of our housekeeping items. Sam, thanks a ton for being with us, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Brian, and everyone at Pinnacle. We are honored to be a client and have never experienced in our 11 years of business a partner that wants to support you in this way, whether it's bringing this content to you or allowing someone to present. So we enjoyed doing the LinkedIn series last month, and today we're talking about PR. My roots come from PR, actually. I started Green Apple in 2012. For anybody that, I'll do this slide quick in case you were on the LinkedIn presentation, but my beginnings was in broadcast communications and then on to PR on the client side and then the agency side, which is how I got connected to some of Pinnacle's current employees who work on the marketing and PR side. So in 2012, I decided to leave my agency and started Green Apple Strategy. We're full service marketing. We're located in Nashville and also Charlotte, North Carolina. Our focus is our people. We hire the best and we work with the best. We want to make sure that we work with people who love what they do, and that goes for our clients as well. We also want to make sure that we tell your story, and that really plays into today's presentation. Our core focus is content. So we build our strategy for our clients to reach their target audience, but also make sure that we understand your why and that we tell that story of why you do what you do. Some of the things to expect today. Everyone thinks of PR and they think of, this is only for my business. But honestly, this is for key executives as well. And we'll talk about how we tackle that at Green Apple and how you can make sure that your internal PR team or your PR agency is doing this. We found this quite effective. So today we'll talk about thought leadership, how to leverage your experience, your expertise. You can do things like this. You can do webinars. You can do different things through social. But there's a great way and a great access through PR to do that. Awards and accolades. We've all seen it, especially those of us here in Nashville with the Great Business Journal, also in Charlotte. I think we're in 44 markets now. But they do the list, they do top CEOs, they do best places to work, best in business. And those are things that your PR firm should be doing for you. They have a great deal of a process of filling out applications, and there's a great deal of writing that goes into the end result of those winners that you see. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about direct media relations. What's the current state of journalism, how it's rapidly changing, and how you can get your story in front of those reporters who are managing a lot of different beats. And we'll talk about that shortly. We have a couple of case studies to talk through with you guys, just to show some examples of how we work with our clients and give you some ideas on things you can do to very different clients and how PR works for them. And then we'll go through our key takeaways. So first and foremost, the purpose of PR. You want to be strategic. You want to have goal-oriented tactics that are measurable. So some of those initial things that I just said on what to expect today, you want to be able to select those that are best for your brand, and through a strategic planning process, that's how we do that for our clients. You've got to have someone that's willing to build relationships for you, or you doing it for any of the PR professionals that are on the call today. So this is going to require an understanding of the audience, the influencers, their needs, and thinking about, this goes beyond the typical, journalist at the MBJ or the Post or the Tennessean or at WKRN or WSMV. Social media has a great deal of influencers now, a great deal of bloggers, a great deal of people that are creating online publications or resources for news, especially in the trade publications, in the trade world. So building credibility, whether it's with you as an individual, whether it's with your company within your industry, you want to build credibility, brand equity, all things that you can do through marketing, and then capitalize on top of that, on top of those efforts by doing it through PR as well. So let's talk about where Americans are getting their news. And this is what I was talking about with like a shift in the number of opportunities. Overall, people are still getting their news from broadcast news affiliates, whether it's your local ABC, NBC, CBS affiliates, public radio, NPR, newspapers, but then also think about the fact that they're getting their information through posts on social media. They're talking with friends, they're communicating, local talk radio apps. But then also there's, podcasts, there's featured, focused information that's going out there. So that even opens up another door of, a great deal of pitching that we do is actually for, podcast. We'll work with different producers, different opportunities where we're telling your story through, a podcast instead of pitching, just let's say the Tennessean. So another reason to make sure that you have a fully defined strategy is that you're thinking through all the different platforms. So let's first talk about thought leadership. This is leveraging your experience. You're delivering topical content. One, it definitely establishes credibility, generates visibility, and reinforces your brand story. We, in 2012, when we were founded, I had already been blogging for the Nashville Business Journal for 2 years. So at my previous agency, I pitched Eric Snyder and some others that he's still there. There's some others that Kate Herman, she was part of my first outreach. And I was like, hey, you guys feature some, people that aren't reporters. I mean, this was the first that, I'd really seen of it. And I was like, these, people are brand experts, whether, it is, specific to whatever their industry is. And I would love to start submitting content surrounding marketing, PR, social media. They were up for it. Hundreds of blogs and columns later. We've been doing that since 2010. Probably around 14 or 15, the American Business Journals, who's obviously their parent company, reached out and said, hey, do you mind making this more universal rather than just Nashville? Because sometimes we would focus on something happening in Nashville. They said we would love to push it out to all publications. So they started doing that 5, 6, 7 years ago. I can't remember the exact date. And that has generated probably, it has definitely generated our largest client who came to us in 2013. And they're still with us because they were reading our weekly columns. And that established that credibility that we knew what we were talking about. We knew marketing, we knew PR, we knew social media. So that's been a great brand builder for us, and I think we're a great success story for the National Business Journal. But we do this for our clients as well because there's so many opportunities now, and publications are taking advantage of that, of utilizing non-employee content developers. So things to consider. What do you have to say? Who's your audience? Where can you reach them? Just like I said with the Business Journal as an example. How does this provide value? And does the message align with your brand? So, thinking about for us, it was I wanted to reach company owners. I wanted to reach business professionals. I wanted to reach marketers. I wanted to reach those readers of the Business Journal to say, hey, we know what we're talking about. We can do your marketing and PR. So, in a similar sense, if you're in a very specific industry, you might want to reach out and connect with trade publications to talk about specifically what you do in IT or what you do in manufacturing or what you do in restaurant and hospitality. So really outlining and thinking through the story you have to tell, but also who you have to tell it to will help you define which path to take. Other paths could be actually creating a podcast, or we have some clients that we pitch them more to be guests on podcasts than we would, actually send out a pre-produced content or column. So it really depends on, who you're going after, and strategies differ by audience. Engagement channels, like I talked about, guest bylines, subject expert interviews, speaking events, webinars, podcast, video content, social media, and blogging. All of those are now opportunities in PR. And I think it's something that we've never thought about. You think of PR as somebody, working and pitching the media or sending out a press release. And now there's so many, it's just expanded. It's expanded beyond that. And they're all useful tools and ways to get your story out there. So, how can you take action? You can obviously, as I've said a couple of times, make a plan, draw inspiration from others, see others. Joe Scarlett, he's been in the Business Journal since before me. Look at what people are doing. Look at, if they're a contributor on an actual afternoon show, and that's where your target audience is. Let's say your target audience is with Style Blueprint. You're looking at a very specific demographic or, a specific group to get in front of. Then look at, how would you want to speak to that passion? How would you want to tell that story? And make those connections. And then begin producing that content. Like I said, it could be through video. It could turn into, a whole side business that you're doing. And I haven't done the math on 4 pieces of content every month since the beginning of 2010, but that's a lot of great content that we've repurposed in so many different ways. It can be a checklist. Some have turned into ebooks. So there's so many opportunities to really produce that content and use it in different ways. Something else that we do for our clients that I think oftentimes we've had people come to us and they say, I don't understand, how did I not make this list? Or how do I get to be best in business? Or who gets on the in charge list with the post? That is all done behind the scenes on someone like a PR firm or your internal PR manager or marketing manager. Actually, as I said in the beginning of this presentation, going through multiple steps to produce applications, to produce submissions, to actually tell why you or your brand, your company should be recognized. So this isn't just, someone at one of these publications just saying, oh, these guys are the best, I'm going to put them on a list. Or something I've heard, it's not advertisers and saying, oh, they advertise, I'm going to put them on this list or recognize them. It's not that way. I've even been, because we've won, I've been on the judging side, and it's insane how many companies or people, whichever the case, um, apply for all of these different, listings, awards, whatever it might be. And then the process of what the judges do, which are typically past winners, what they do to then select those new winners. And then, typically the publication has the final say on those recommendations. These are amazing ways to, drive brand awareness, but also that proof in we are best in business, or we are a top CFO, or whatever that might be. So things to consider. You could sit and do this all day, every day, 40 hours a week, and that return on investment is not there. So you've got to be very strategic and build a plan for what are you going after and why. So industry versus general business awards. So that means, the Nashville Post in charge list versus going after, top restaurants, or, we're involved in a lot of B2B businesses. So there's a lot of trade organizations that we're involved in. So, going after a top SFESA certified professional, there are different things that qualify for recognition within your industry. So it's looking at which makes more sense for us. Where do we want to spend this time? The legitimacy of the award, sadly, you'll once you win an award, you'll get emails of, hey, you should apply for this. And then when you start digging into it, you might see that it's just an opportunity where they are just going to put you on a list, and then they want money for different placements or advertising or whatnot. So we vet a lot of different awards and opportunities. The target audience, who do you want to get in front of? Again, we were blogging, we were a guest columnist because we wanted to get in front of business owners in this market, and then all the markets for the business journals. But we applied for best in business, and we're blown away that we won, because typically we do this for our customers. So we started doing it for ourselves after that. And that's the group we wanted to get in front of. So you've got to think about that as well. You want to leverage your recognition after you win, whether it's an individual award or a company award. You want to make sure that that is being pushed out on your social media. We talked about LinkedIn last month, and LinkedIn is an amazing place to put this information, to promote it, to drive your connections and your audience. And then, as I just said, the ROI. So the time, the effort, and the resources. All of these things take a lot of time. And if they don't take a lot of time, they might be go back to the legitimacy of the award. If it's just send in your information, your name, your number of employees you have, whatever, it's not legitimate. The time that goes into these submissions are more than you can imagine. And that really shows, I think, the level of the award. It's kind of, you get what you put into something. But the ROI of, determining which are the best ones to go after is really important, because again, my team could do this all day, every day for all of our clients, and that doesn't make sense. So you want to be selective. Just some of the different awards that are out there, different awards that we've won or that we have helped our clients win. Everybody sees the Business Journal 40 Under 40, the CFO Awards, 100 Black Men in Middle Tennessee, Best of Parenting. One of our clients, talking about industry specific, one of our clients is in childcare, private preschools across numerous markets, and we go after Best of Parenting in every single market. So that's what parents are looking for when they're looking for, private preschool. Best in Business Awards, specifically to Forbes Best Employers. Leaders in Diversity. One of our clients is a national insurance company, and we've proudly helped them, and again, they're doing all the work, but we're just representing the work they've done. But we've helped them get recognized as a leader in diversity, a leader in, taking new graduates and helping them expand their career. So, ways to take action within awards and accolades, turn to sources you trust, sign up for notifications, not to only talk about the Business Journal, but they do a great job. Carol Smith and others over there do a great job of you letting them know what you're interested in. They're going to send you email updates and reminders on when you should sign up, when you should put in your information, because there is a lot. So, there's a lot of, like, we have content calendars that include all awards. We have award tracking on, we submitted on this date, we'll know on this date, we did or didn't win. And then we're going to do it again for them the next year if they didn't win that year. And we collect feedback on, why they did or didn't win and utilize that information. Delegating application duties. If you guys are doing this in-house, it's a heavy lift. So looking at who can help with writing or who can help with, tracking the deadlines and getting everything in, and then dedicating time to pursue these opportunities. You'll see a great deal of time could be put into this, so manage it wisely. So for media relations, this is what I think we all think PR is. This is building relationships. This is literally PR teams, PR professionals connecting with journalism, um, uh, not only the people in, whether it's reporting, editors, different people connected to these different publications, but also, as I said, there are influencers out there. There are people who are creating new platforms to tell stories. And you want to make sure that you're not discounting and really looking at who could help you get your message to your audience. So this is one of the most powerful ways to get your brand story out there, because it's an impartial third-party messenger. It's cost effective because you're paying for your PR professional's time or your PR agency's time, and it's immediate results. We might send out a press release or begin pitching, and we'll show a couple of case studies here in a second. And they could be on, or they could be online now that we're not only in print. You could be online and have your story out there before noon after talking to them that morning. So it is a great way to get information out there quickly. And then it's also typically in a format where you can reshare it on your social platforms. So what does it mean? Things to consider. What's my message? Who do I reach out to? When does the timing work? Is my story compelling? And that is one of the biggest things I will call out here. Everyone thinks, oh, I have a PR firm or I have a PR manager. I should just tell the world something every week with a press release. Is this newsworthy? Will people care? Is this newsworthy for business news, or is this newsworthy within my trade publications? There are so many different things to look at, but it's, who am I targeting and will they care about this information? Which assets do you include? Used to it was a press release. Now it's you can send downloads and information. You can send videos. You can send so many different things to tell the story. Um, Back when I started out after undergrad, and I was on the broadcast communications side, so I was on the TV side of producing and reporting. I mean, you got your story by interviewing and shooting the video. Now we can pre-produce, shoot sound bites, shoot information, create graphics. We have literally created the graphic and sent it, and they've utilized it. So it's really cool now with digital marketing efforts that you can send them pre-produced. Hey, I've got a sound bite here. I've got a graphic here that outlines, key stats surrounding the story. And they're going to be more apt to cover it because you're also helping them do their job. And we'll talk about shortly why they need the help because of how much they're all balancing now. So breaking through the clutter. Here's what I wanted to make a point of. The average reporter covers 4 different beats now. They're writing 2 to 4 stories a week. They're working in multiple mediums. They're writing for print, they're writing for online, they're capturing video to tell the story. I mean, think about it when you go to the Tennessean or when you go to the Post. when you go to the Business Journal, when you go to USA Today, when you go to the Wall Street Journal, it's not just in print anymore. You're online. You can see videos. You can, watch the story. So they've got to produce all that content. So their work is just, tripling, quadrupling, and then they're having to cover multiple beats. Used to, if you wrote about, restaurants in town, that's what you wrote about. Now you might be business and real estate, you might be commercial real estate, you might be residential. I mean, it's insane the amount of responsibilities that they have now. So really being able to help them do their job by sending assets, but then also by only pitching them when it's a newsworthy story, really will create a great rapport between you and those reporters. They receive up to 25 pitches per week, which is insane. So think about if they're working on 4 stories, but they're getting 25 plus pitches of this is what I want you to write about. They use pitches for their published work, and this is all from, we work with Muck Rack for our database driving, and we got these stats from them. So they're tracking the work that's being done, and they're tracking the pitching, and they're tracking what's getting pushed out there. Members of the media are utilizing 3 times out of 4 pitches that come to them. So they need and want that help. So investing in someone to tell your story through this medium is really important. A lot of these publications, especially those who have an online presence, which I would say everyone does now, prioritizes Gen X and millennial audiences. So ways to take action: develop a news habit, follow media on social media platforms, set up relevant Google alerts, use trade and industry groups. So utilize your social media platforms, especially LinkedIn, to be connected to these different publications, to these different industry groups. Connect with them, build a relationship, and when you're sending them stories and information, they're going to be more apt to read your email, to support getting your story out to their audience. You want to be sure that you're also staying informed. It's different for us with an agency. We've got Google alerts for all of our clients and then topics surrounding all of our clients, but you guys can set up some very specific information that you want to receive to make sure that, one, you might be getting ideas, but two, if a competitor is featured, how do you want to tackle getting your story out and getting your story out, in relation to what they received. So just a couple quick case studies before we wrap up, just to show you the difference in the type of PR that's out there for media relations in particular. We have a client that is a internet service provider. They're United Communications. They're located in Williamson County. They service Middle Tennessee. So they work with multiple partners. They also go direct to the consumer. So to position our CEO as a thought leader, we created an event at the beginning of January that positioned him as a rural broadband advocate. William Bradford came over to United before COVID with a goal of taking broadband, high-speed internet to those in rural areas. Then when COVID hit, it accelerated his desire to get internet to everyone. People needed to work from home. They needed to have telemed opportunities or go to school from home, and they couldn't do it. And you wouldn't believe the stories we've heard on people having to go sit in a McDonald's parking lot 2 towns over to let their kids do homework, or they had to work from there because they couldn't go in. So it's really more important now than ever. And then who doesn't want to be able to check out when they get home and relax and stream something, just to reset from the day? And these people, there's so many people that you wouldn't realize that don't have that high-speed internet option. So they've made it their goal to get everyone connected in Middle Tennessee. So they received some of the state infrastructure grants that were announced at the end of last year, some of the largest in Tennessee's history. So we wanted to make sure that we positioned an event that celebrated that with Governor Lee, with Commissioner McWhirter. But we invited all TV and print publications from Nashville, from Williamson County, from the surrounding counties, and generated earned media coverage with an ad value of $320,000, with 24 news stories, with 3 out of 4 network affiliates and TV being there on site, as you see in the photo. So in a hour-and-a-half event on a Monday morning in January, we generated 320,000 in ad value for them. So there's a reason there's power in PR. On a total flip side, the factory in Franklin, I know you guys are, if you're local, you're familiar, and you know it's getting quite the facelift. One of the first pieces of this facelift is the launch of a new bar that is in the middle of the Grand Hall. So used to when you entered, you saw an information desk, a restroom, a very large rocking chair. There wasn't much to see. And now this has all been opened up. You can now see the beautiful second floor because the second floor is gone. It's this massive entryway. And we branded and launched the Skylight Bar with another event. But also, as part of that event, was daily media relations, getting the bar manager featured on WSMV, WKRN, getting the property owner and developer, Holiday Properties, interviewed about all renovations and all of the future progress. So there's over 15 new restaurants coming in. So PR has been the way that we've been able to get this story out there. So from Hattie B's to Etch to Edley's, there are some big names coming in and really changing the face of the factory. And we've been able to do that not only by throwing this 300 plus guest event, but we sold it out in 24 hours because we pushed it out through PR. We were telling everyone through Style Blueprint with an exclusive launch that this is happening and you want to be there in April to celebrate it. So it was pretty cool to see PR tell this story. Just in one weekend, we generated 418,000 in ad value and 42 stories with 5 different broadcast segments. So again, I can't say it enough. There's a lot of power in telling your story through PR. So before we wrap up, key takeaways. It definitely requires relationship building. You can't just, write a release, push it out there and think it's going to do all of this. There's a lot of building relationships, creating and establishing credibility. And you do that through always sending them newsworthy content that's timely, that's topical, that's authentic. If you're just sending them information that really isn't newsworthy, they're going to stop answering your emails because, as you remember, they're getting 25 plus pitches. They want to see that a trusted person's reaching out and they're going to know that you're sending them something that's newsworthy and they're going to click on it and they're going to have one of their stories taken care of because you're also sending video and you're also sending downloads for their audience or graphics. Whether you're sharing ideas or pursuing recognition, you've got to start with strategy. So you've got to set your goals, determine your target audiences, and determine how you want to push your brand out there. And then again, look for opportunities and inspiration from sources that you already know and trust. Any questions? And my apologies for the pause that we had in the presentation. Luckily, I wasn't doing a presentation on presentations.
Sam, you were great. We've already had a couple people chime in here. Tammy wants to specifically thank you for your work with United because she said up until United they were on DSL trying to utilize the internet. So
Uh,
she is a firsthand beneficiary of the partnership that you had there.
We love hearing that. And part of our PR outreach is getting these stories and telling that where people know to ask to get the broadband coverage or to, um, you know, want to spread the story and tell others that it's out there and it's available. So thank you for that, Tammy.
Yeah, you bet. So we'll open it up for questions. We've got what Peter's asked one now. While I've given you all time to kind of chime in, I would remind you we have recorded this, so you can always go back out to our YouTube channel later today, tomorrow, and find this and share it. And Sam, so much of what you said in my time at Pinnacle, I have seen it work. You're familiar with who we are and our brand, and we're not real big believers in advertising and paid advertisements, but we have leveraged PR now in so many different markets.
Mm.
to talk about the awards that we won, to talk about our people and how great they are, and push out stories through all the different news outlets to talk about who we are. And I think it has definitely helped us build a reputation and a brand that stands out from a lot of our competitors. And so it's so great to have seen and experienced the impact that a great partnership with a PR firm can have. And I think the other thing that I would add is, one of our values at Pinnacle is partnership. And you, everything that you went through, I can't fathom being a business owner trying to run and manage a business, whatever it is that your business offers, whatever product or service your business offers, and trying to stay on top of managing the public relations aspect of it. And I think it's just such a great point to think about partnering with a great PR firm like you all, because again, I can't fathom staying on top of all of that and having to write your own content and knowing the right places to send it and when to send it and do those types of things. And so I think you gave a lot of thought-provoking ideas.
Well, thank you. Thank you
Uh,
for that. It is a big investment.
yeah,
Of
for
course.
sure, but I think it's certainly worthwhile. So Peter has a question about LinkedIn usage. He's targeting human resource managers and says in a given week he's spending about 3 to 5% of his time pushing out content, putting information in LinkedIn. From your perspective and what he's trying to do, is that too much time? Is it too little time? There's a lot of other things that he's trying to do from a time management standpoint and time investment standpoint. How would you suggest that for Peter?
So hopefully I'm understanding the end result goal before when I give my recommendation here. So you are targeting HR managers, and I don't know if I can ask a question back, if it's for thought leadership and sharing to hire and place those, or to uh, get them to outsource um, their HR needs to his company. If it's the latter, I think definitely looking at an opportunity with a trade publication, or connecting with SHRM and connecting as a thought leader, a partner with them in some way, might help the content creation process, because you're linking with a credible industry partner, and that would help you. It would almost be like in parallel. You're pushing out content through your LinkedIn, but then you're also pushing out content through theirs or through their online publication that you can then reshare. So I think in doing something aligned in that way, then it's going to build credibility faster, because you're going to be connected to not only your company and what you do as an expert and a thought leader, but you're going to be connected to an industry association that they know and trust.
We've got a couple of questions about, if you don't mind going back one slide, everybody would love to see sort of your wrap up last slide.
Okay.
And then a couple of people chimed in with a similar question. So if smaller firms, you're talking about solopreneurs or 1 or 2 person businesses that aren't on the scale of some of the businesses that you've talked about here, what suggestions would you make for them to utilize, talk about that ROI again, right? You can chase this and chase this and chase this. But if you're a smaller company, maybe just getting started, or you're just a smaller business in general without the budget to hire a wonderful PR firm like yours, what are some of the suggestions you would offer them for increasing their visibility and making an impact?
Yeah, so I think that, first and foremost, as we talked about, there's a lot of different ways to share content. So, you know, your website is your storefront, no matter what industry you're in. So if you start with creating content that can live on your website, whether it's blogs surrounding the industry you're in, positioning your executive leadership team as thought leaders, starting there, that gives you content that you can then share on LinkedIn. driving people back to your website. It gives you content that you can share through email marketing efforts that you're pushing it out to your email list, you're getting them back to your website, you're creating that credibility. Then, if you're doing that and you're creating that content and you're, you know, whether it's shooting videos or writing spotlights around your employees or the way you do business, that gives you some foundational content that you could then go out to an industry publication to position yourself as a thought leader, as a guest columnist. So I think that's one of the, and that's what we did. I mean, we started out where we wanted to share our marketing and PR expertise. No matter what industry you're in, there are tricks of your trade that you can share, and it doesn't have to be with weekly blogs. It could be a couple pieces a month, but it's starting with that foundational content, that foundational story, and then pushing it out to your audiences, and then letting it be content that you could then pitch to a publication to utilize. On the flip side, um, I feel like, you know, if you have a milestone, if you have a, you know, whether it's a new product that you're launching, if it's something that's happening, knowing what publications do you read and reach out to those reporters that you read their information and start a conversation. It doesn't have to be a formal pitch and press release. It could be, hey, I'm the CEO of this small business and I'm launching a new app, or I'm moving into this market. I want to connect with you. A lot of times you'll get that connection, that opportunity to talk with them and then start creating that relationship. I think those are some of the small ways that you can start. But it all begins with actually looking at who you're targeting and what is that strategy. And it's, having coffee with somebody like me that has done it, that could say, hey, having one-to-one time where you can say, this is exactly what I'm trying to do. What's my best path to get started? Um, I meet with people all the time where I'm giving them that advice, and then it gets them moving at least in the right direction. You don't have to go all in and do everything that we talked about today, but you have to start.
Yeah, Sam, I think kind of what I heard you say there is, especially in a small business, work smarter, not harder, right? So think about the message that you want and create that message and then distribute it through several different channels. And it might be a very similar message, but that way you've kind of put that in a lot of different ways, shapes, and forms, and it's the same way, instead of being so scatterbrained and all over the place and creating tons and tons and tons of content.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's super helpful. I don't see any more questions. Sam, we're very thankful for your time with us today. Um, we've got one more session with Sam scheduled for Thursday, June 22nd. It will also be at 10 Central, and we'll be talking about aligning business and operations with your marketing, which I love that. I had a good friend in the marketing world many years ago that suggested everything that we do is marketing. And so it is quite wise to have everything within your business line up with the marketing message that you're trying to communicate. So we'll look forward to that. So make sure that you all join us back on June 22nd. Sam, we're thankful for your time, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.
You are most welcome. I look forward to seeing you guys again. And please reach out if you have any further questions or if you want to connect and talk about how you can integrate PR into your business.
Okay, Sam, you're awesome. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll look forward to being back with you soon. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you guys.